for race 3, final one of the weekend, 12 laps ahead. Now, David Cedars, Chris Pither and Cam McConville, top 3 lining up, are all equal on points, so it was their qualifying result that broke the deadlock for us to determine the grid. Cam Wilson, race 2 winner, will start alongside Ryle Harris. Remember, though, they're teammates. Wilson will look after Ryle Harris. Remember, he has a championship points advantage. Jack Elsgood, the Hustler Mowers car, is having a bit of an interesting weekend, but he knows about fighting for the championship. He's not in the fight this time around, but he could probably give a few tips to some of these guys at the front.
And talk about having a tough weekend. Nathan Pretty will be starting this third and final race from position 23. And don't forget, he was leading the championship prior to Bathurst.
How quickly it can all come undone. He did fight his way through in race 2 to get to 13th, so let's see what we can do. Top 3 are equal on points. It will pretty much be winner take all in this third and final race. Cedars with the chance to get some more points back on Ryle Harris, who starts from 5th on the grid. It's Cedars with the best jump down to turn 1. We jump on board with Craig Donis, the Thirsty Camel Commodore with the Ice Break Coffee in car, on car and outside of car. But it's Cedars who leads through the chicane. Madiki doesn't even bother with it.
Can the rest of them all get through the chicane? A couple of others straight lining there, but look at McConville up the inside. Any other action a bit further back? Kim Jane trying to keep his nose clean. Obviously sustained some front end damage that put him out in race 2, so mindful of getting through this first lap as clean as possible.
Yeah, damaged the radiator in that car from the contact that he had. Bit of bumper-to-bumper stuff in race 2. Oh, I get worried about that run into the chicane. Look at Pither. He's racy already. He's all over the back of David Cedars. Who knows he needs to be defensive here at turn 11. He parks it on the inside and puts the Kiwi on the outside. And Pither needs to be careful there not to leave the door open and invite Cam McConville in for dinner.
But Pither will be going all out in this race. He doesn't have a championship to think about. Cedars understeers wide at turn 12. Lucky to keep it off the fence. So that'll give the Ice Break Commodore all the incentive that he needs to have a real crack at him coming into the last corner. Harris trying to find a way past Madeki. So a couple of guys that aren't in the championship, but they're running strong this weekend, taking points off Ryle Harris.
Oh, Danny Bazadzik's had a shocker. The Western General Bodyworks Falcon has looped, and now he needs to do about a 5-point turn just to get going again.
Oh, check out the air conditioning he's running there. He's got rid of the back windscreen, so it'll be nice and cool for him inside that ute. But back up the front now, Harris will be looking at getting a run on Madeki through this chicane and fire up the inside into the hairpin.
Auto 1 replay here of how Bazadzik got to where he did. Steve Charman involved. Pizza Hut Falcon delivers. I guess you'd say.
Delivers a knockout blow, or?
No, definitely not pizza, but anyway. Back to the front. Cedars had a bit of an engine temp drama with this car in race 2. It just got a little bit too hot. Lost a bit of straight line grunt. It's a busy pack. Everyone's behaving that time out.
Yeah, well, they all stayed off the camera that time, so good work by the boys and girls out there. But McConville now starting to put a bit of pressure on Pither.
And McConville's in good form. Remember, he finished 4th at Bathurst with James Courtney for the Holden Racing Team. Came so desperately close to finishing on the podium. He's a former V8 Supercar race winner here on the streets of the Gold Coast, and he finished on the podium in the Ute last year here. Craig Donis, look at the eyes of this man. Thirsty Camel Commodore zeroing in on Gary Baxter. It's been a tough weekend for the Adelaide driver. 13th and 22nd. He got wiped out in race 2. He slipped off on oil in race 1, but he's up for it in race 3.
Big move up the inside and up over the curb. But great pass. Don't usually see moves into actually turn 1. It's more into this tight hairpin that we see the majority of passing manoeuvres happen.
And that used to be the old second chicane on the Indy track, so it's actually added a passing opportunity to this much shorter 3-kilometre circuit. We ride on board with Donis down this back straight to the back chicane, which is just all about curbs. It's all about riding really the second and third one. If you get a good run here, you can set up a move into the next turn.
Yeah, exactly right. If you get a nice, good exit out of the last chicane, it sets up a great passing opportunity into this corner where we've seen plenty of action all weekend.
Andrew Fisher here in the Jesus Falcon, 18th in race 2. He actually broke a wheel on a curb in the last race. Really easy to do if you punish them too hard. And remember, we saw him 4 wheels off the deck in the last race.
Wouldn't mind betting you that damage was sustained in that super slow-mo replay we saw, and Bazadzik in pit lane for some repairs. So difficult weekend for him. But for Andrew Fisher, he was very fortunate that broken wheel happened on the last lap, so he was able to limp across the line and get some points. And speaking of limping, Chris Walton, so damage to the left front, either another broken wheel or a puncture, Nunes.
Auto One replay might tell us the story. Well, it's already gone there. He's down the escape road. They had an engine change after race one. They clipped the wall in qualifying. It's been a tough weekend for the Renko Ford. Here's Ryle Harris next through, then George Medicki, then Reece McNally. The man they're chasing, though, is David Cedars. He leads the way. It's 1/3 race distance in the final race of the weekend on the Gold Coast. David Cedars has the lead in race 3, round 6 of the Auto One V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All on the Gold Coast. Here is the championship leader, Ryle Harris. He's got a bit of clear air in front and a bit of clear air behind. He sits in 4th place. James Moffat, he should be able to just bring it home from here, bank these points and go to Winton and Sydney Olympic Park and continue the fight.
He should be able to do that, Nunes, but this is the Gold Coast. Streets of surface paradise, and we've seen so far this weekend anything can happen. So it's never over until it's over around this very hard concrete canyon. And Ryle, he will be just focusing on that, bringing it home, collecting the points. He hasn't been as quick as we've seen him over the last few rounds this weekend, but he's been clever. He's been collecting the points that he needs to.
And he tried to play that game last year, but it fell away late in 2011 and the series slipped away, but he looks a bit stronger this year. He's certainly matured in the last couple of seasons. On board here with Donnis, putting the pressure on Sean Carter, who raced here in the Mini Challenge a few years ago. Loved the track there. The Utes are just a little bit different. He's had a pretty good weekend. Qualified 15th and 16th in the pair of races, so nice and consistent in the mid-pack in that 82 Sucker Punch energy drink car. Just hopefully he doesn't launch a few sucker punches on any of these guys in the last 3 laps.
And he's running a bit of a retro 82 Brock livery there as well, so nice look to that Sucker Punch Ute, even though it is a Holden. Can't believe I'm saying that.
I thought you might squeeze that in. Hang on a minute. Your dad drove Commodores occasionally?
Oh, only a couple of times.
Jake McNally here, Ben Wilson, Jack Elsgood in the number 11 car. He's had a bit of a tough weekend. Won his first ever Ute round here in 2002, 10 years ago. He's gone on to win 10 rounds since then, but hasn't been driving full time. Bit of debris on the track down at the first chicane.
And Jack actually qualified really well this weekend in 6th, and then we saw him in that drama in race 1 at turn 11, but the gap up the front of the field has definitely closed. Pither with the lights on. So we've still got a fight on our hands for the last few laps.
And the thing is too, James, on the Gold Coast, we're here for the 9th time for the V8 Ute Series. We have never had in nearly a decade a repeat round winner. It's quite an amazing statistic. It happened for years here in the old IndyCar race where no one could win again. But look at Pither, he's really thrown her off that chicane, and Cedars knew it. He parked it on the inside for the hairpin, and he will fend off that advance. But this Ice Break Coffee Commodore is strong in the back half of the race.
Certainly is, and might just be looking after the rear tyres a bit better than that Falcon up ahead. But one thing is to catch, another thing is to pass, and while Cedars has the championship to think about, he's also got a round win on the line as well, so he'll be keen to knock up another round win if he can, but he's got to not risk his championship by doing that.
Love the growl that the Utes really generate in the last couple of years. Remember though, Cedars has had a bit of success here and there. He's won some rounds in the past, but he hasn't won one in 2012 just yet. He's coming on strong, and in the business end of the championship. Remember, in the Ute Series, it's 35 points for a race win in each of the three, and you get points for qualifying as well. So your entire weekend affects your championship. Qualifying points, I reckon, is one of the great things. I'd love to see it in a range of other series because qualifying's so important.
It certainly is, and it's definitely set up David Cedars' weekend so far. And look at Craig Donis up the inside into turn 11. So up the inside of Sean Carter. We saw these two battling just a moment ago. So Donis moves one spot through, and Nathan Pretty, after starting 23rd, is up to 14th.
On the final lap now, and Pither has got the lights on. He's trying desperately to get by David Cedars. He just doesn't have that last little bit. Auto 1 replay. This was the move that Donis launched. Carter just in too deep.
So the trouble corner this weekend for V8 Utes has been turn 11, and we saw it again there. But final time through the back chicane. Cedars up on two wheels. Pither giving it absolutely everything, but I don't think he's got enough to get past David Cedars.
And these two are the only drivers in the race under the existing lap record. So they've had the pace. They've just been too strong, and David Cedars has stitched together a very good weekend. Pole position, race 1 win. Smart drive in the reverse grid race to go from 12th to 6th, and he's going to finish it off with one more race win and clinch the round.
It's not quite sealed yet, but all he's got to do is get through this final corner nice and cleanly, which looks like he's managed to do that. So David Cedars will come across the line, take out race 3 and also the round victory, and this weekend will do his championship chances no harm.
It's a breakthrough result, first round win of the year, and it just takes away a few more points from Ryle Harris, who will finish 4th. Cam McConville is home in 3rd, so back-to-back podiums on the Gold Coast for the Bundaberg Walkinshaw Ute. Cam Wilson, race 2 winner, might not finish race 3 this race.
So after such a great race 2, disappointing way for Cam Wilson to finish the weekend off in the tyres.
Just trying to find reverse gear and can't really find it. He's buried in the tyres, so that's a real shame. Has he done it himself? It would appear so. Oh well, at least he won a race. Still, he's got something to be very, very proud of. Cedars picks up race 3 from Pither and McConville. Harris next from Mediki, then McNally, Hansford, Fisher, Jake McNally, and Ben Wilson rounded out the top 10. For the overall round, Cedars picks up the win. Pither and McConville on the podium. Great points, though, for Ryle Harris. Not too far away and in 4th place.
Well, Dave, it's nearly a perfect result here, but certainly a podium result in the #1 spot, and the championship, it's got to be looking a bit better now.
Yeah, the championship's looking a lot better now, Kylie. We've moved up into 2nd, and it was a great result all round. We were the fastest car every session we hit the track. We got a new lap record. We got 2 race wins, a pole. It just all kept falling into place for us. And I tell you what, that last race was one of the hardest races we had to do. It was like lap record pace the whole way through. Chris was pushing the whole time. Cam was pushing. I was pushing. There was nothing left at the end, that was for sure.
NZ Drivers' Championship, 2 rounds to go, and it's Harris who still leads the way, but it's a different chaser. David Cedars now 38 points behind the young Gold Coast star.
Ryle, anytime you get away with a championship win still intact, it's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, obviously we've maintained our lead, we've extended it. Nathan Pretty had a pretty bad round. David Cedars obviously had a good round. We didn't mean to push. It's the first time I've ever driven conservatively. I probably overdid it a bit. But, the car's a little bit down on horsepower. We'll put another engine in it for Winton. We'll freshen up the shocks. I think they've copped a battering this weekend over all the curbs. But we've got a championship to focus on now. We've got the lead, and hopefully they'll stay there all the way to the end to Homebush.
Let's give away some awards. Nathan Pretty doesn't go away empty-handed. He does get the SS Inductions Hard Charger Award. He passed 15 Utes in that race 2 fight back. He's still got a smile on his dial. Ryan Hansford picks up the Champion Spark Plugs Pole Shot Award for the weekend, $500 cash for the best race start in race 3. And Chris Walton, he had a tough weekend too, but the Renko Ford driver still leads the Rookie of the Year point standings for 2012. But to the winner go the spoils, and David Cedars picks up his first round win in 2012. It's the 5th of his V8 Ute career. He is still in with a chance at the championship. Pither and McConville on the podium.